I feel certain that if Kamala Harris wins this election, it will be because of women who will flip the script and turn the page on Donald Trump and MAGA's dark chapter in history. And Lord knows we are exhausted of this.
It's inappropriate for you to say, I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. 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 I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
My name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. Look, I believe it's time for this freaky Oompa Loompa cosplaying as a garbage man to go away for good. And I believe it's going to be because of us women who will do it, which is sweet justice, because the harm that Trump and MAGA Republicans are causing us is deadly. Every day we find out about more women and girls like this teenager, Nevaeh Crane, who after 3 separate trips to Texas ERs died because of Republican abortion bans. Doctors would not touch her despite her unviable pregnancy because she still had a fetal heartbeat. And she died because she was not able to receive life-saving abortion care. And because MAGAs don't believe in our rights to control our bodies, it stands to reason that that party of misogyny also wants to control women's voices and therefore our votes. So Vote Common put out this ad to remind women that they have the legal right to a private vote.
Your turn, honey.
In the one place in America where women still have a right to choose. You can vote any way you want. And no one will ever know.
Did you make the right choice?
Sure did, honey.
Remember, what happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls. Vote Common Good is responsible for the contents of this ad.
And then this ad from Lincoln Project, which I also thought was fantastic, but also really sad because it shows the oppression that so many women in this country are living under. Check it out.
Still voting for him?
Hell yeah.
What about your wife?
She doesn't like him, but she's voting for him.
Same with mine.
It still gives me chills, the scary control these men have over their wives and daughters, like hostages. And unsurprisingly, this is exactly the way that white supremacists and incel misogynists like Charlie Kirk want life to be for women and girls. Listen to his despicable rant right here.
Basically lie to their husbands, which they are promoting, by the way, which I find that entire advertising campaign so repulsive. It is so disastrous. It is just like
I'll show it in a minute.
It is the embodiment of the downfall of the American family. I think it's so gross. I think it's so just nauseating where this wife is wearing you'll show it, wearing the American hat. She's coming in with her sweet husband who probably works his tail off to make sure that she can go, and have a nice life and provide for the family. And then she lies to him saying, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for Trump. And then she votes for Kamala Harris as her little secret in the voting booth. Kamala Harris and her team believe that there will be millions of women that undermine their husbands and do so in a way that it's not detectable in the polling.
Wow. Just straight out of The Handmaid's Tale, Commander Kirk. It is so degrading and demeaning. And yes, this is what Republicans think of us women. We are merely property to them. That is all. They believe that they are the apex of the pyramid and that women and girls are merely here to serve them. And out here on X, this is what Tom Cox posted after, I guess, seeing one of these ads. He wrote, "This is why I make my wife do a mail-in ballot so I can make sure she votes for Trump. She's not going to vote behind my back." Speaking of intimidation, and Eric Kirk reposted and responded by saying, "This is intimidation of a voter and election interference, and it is a crime." Tom Cox posted a confession. And in fact, Eric Kirk is exactly right. That is voter intimidation. It is election interference, and it is illegal in the United States. So I am hoping that somebody makes a visit to Mr. Tom Cox's home, and I sure as hell hope his wife is able to get out of what sounds to be a very controlling and abusive marriage. The evangelical church, by and large, wrongly teaches that women are to be submissive to their husbands. Like this man, Dale Partridge, a pastor of an anti-woke Reformed church in Arizona that practices white Christian nationalism. And this was his response. He put this out on X. "In a Christian marriage, a wife should vote according to her husband's direction. He is the head and they are one. Unity extends to politics. This is not controversial." Well, Dale, actually it is controversial because Jesus himself was the OG feminist. He never preached that women are to bend the knee to men. That is just wrong preaching from the patriarchy. It is not Christ-like. Christian nationalism is not Christianity. And, Dr. Camden Morgante, who is a Christian psychologist who is deconstructing from her own dealings with Christian nationalism, responded by saying this: "In a Christian marriage, both spouses should use their God-given intellect and prayer to vote according to the direction they feel God leading them. Just because they are united in a marriage doesn't mean they'll always agree. And when that happens, hopefully there is mutual respect and dialogue, because any spouse who bullies and coerces the other into voting their way is abusive. This is not controversial." Right on, Dr. Camden. And speaking of this quote, "be submissive to the men in your life," bullshit. One of my dear friends and I were in a Bible study through an evangelical church a couple years ago. And we both got in trouble or reprimanded for questioning the ridiculous patriarchy that was being stuffed down our throats. We were both separately spoken to. Sorry, my dog is, Angus he's feeling very upset by this patriarchy too. We were both separately reprimanded for questioning this patriarchy. And this was by the women who were leading the group. So again, important to note that women who have been steeped in this patriarchy of white Christian nationalism also believe it to be true. So we were both spoken to. It eventually just pushed us away. And we are both proud feminists, both proud Christian feminists. And I am so excited to join with other women to have a seat at the table of Christian feminism. And yes, that's not an oxymoron. Jesus was literally a feminist. If you read through the Gospels and find out Jesus was he was the original feminist. He proudly supported women. And so in any event, I'm just thrilled to be a part of other women speaking up and joining together, talking about our rights to speak up. And my friend who lives in a super conservative part of the country, she has been part of a network of women who have been posting notes like these in girls' and ladies' bathrooms across the nation, encouraging other women to use their legal right to vote privately. And here are two of the notes that she actually posted in women's bathrooms, and I'll read them to you. "Woman to woman, it's okay to vote, to have rights over your own body. It's okay to vote for decency, for kindness. It's okay to vote for a world where sexual assault victims aren't made fun of. Vote Harris." And then here's another one she posted. "Woman to woman, your vote is private. It's okay to vote how you want and then tell a white lie to those who don't agree with you. Stand up for our daughters and granddaughters. Vote Harris." And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of you, Christy, for doing this. This is sort of like the underground railroad of what women are doing to encourage each other that you do have a voice. You have the legal right to exercise your right to vote in that voting booth or mail-in ballot. And, when women are told to be quiet and when we are told we have to be silenced and told we can't have a voice, this is what happens. And we've been told this since Donald Trump entered the scenery, and we've had it. We are speaking up and speaking out, and millions of us are doing just that. We are speaking in the voting booth. And just to give you an idea of how things are going, as I am recording this, these are the latest numbers from Target Smart. I believe that's Tom Bonnier's firm. More than 64 million votes have already been cast, and 50% of those are from women. Now, there's no way to know how those women votes are breaking, because even if they are registered Republicans or independents, some of these women could be breaking for Kamala. But Democrats are very encouraged that the majority of these early votes are female. That seems to be an encouraging sign, because even in deep red states like Kansas and Ohio, we know that reproductive rights and women's rights are critically important to women. Even in those red states, they're like, no, we want to have our rights, and as it should be. So this could be a really positive harbinger of what is going to come. At least I'm hoping so. And you know what? I'll leave you with one more reminder of the hate and misogyny on the propaganda network known as Fox. I refuse to call it Fox News because it's not. Here is Jesse Waters blowing out an artery over the Women's Votes Are Private ad campaign that I showed you earlier. Take a listen.
Emma was going into the voting booth and pulling the lever for Harris. That's the same thing as having an affair. That to me,
oh my God! Let him finish. Go, Jesse. It's our day.
That violates
Judge.
the sanctity of our marriage.
Preach on. Yes.
What else is she keeping from me?
Exactly.
What else has she been lying about?
Why would she lie to you?
Jesse
Have you threatened her? Why would she lie to you?
Oh, they want me to tease.
Why would she do that and then vote Harris? Why would she say she was voting
He's
Trump
not the problem,
and then
Judge.
voting Harris? And I caught her.
So
and then she said, I lied to you for the last 4 years.
So you admit you intimidate
It's
people.
over.
Even Janine Pirro is saying to Jesse Waters, you admit you intimidate her? I mean, it's a big deal when Janine Pirro is reprimanding one of her fellow Fox hosts. Jesse Waters is one of those abusive husbands that we saw acting in the ad. He's a monster. And might I remind everyone that Jesse Waters is the same creep who was cheating on his first wife, with whom he had 2 very young children, with Emma, whom he worked with. I think she was an intern or somebody he was working with. And the way that he courted Emma or got her was by letting the air out of her tires, so she would be forced to take a ride home with him. That is predatory. That is disgusting, creepy, vile behavior. Jesse Waters is a predator. Sound like anyone else we know?
Please don't say that. Why? They said we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not.
America, let's please take out the predatory, sexual assaulting trash on Tuesday. If you haven't already done so, vote. And yes, your vote is legally protected to be private and not to be interfered with or intimidated with. Please spread the word. Let's do this, guys. My name is Suri Crowe for the MeidasTouch Network. And I really mean it when I'm saying it this time. I am praying for peace across this country.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.